Welcome to Primetime Analysis. I am your host, Victor Onyango. Now, Senior Counsel Ahmednassir Abdulahi is one of the most respected personalities in this country, depending on where you stand. But on matters of law, he remains Senior Counsel. And as a commentator in daily political activities in our country, he also remains one of the most sought after analysts and commentators. And therefore, whatever he says, especially when it comes to considering the status of our country, people in high ranks get to listen. He regularly comments on issues affecting the judiciary and also those that affect our daily happenings. Now, today he gave out some fiery tweets and he gave out his mind to this regime. And remember, he's a serious supporter of William Ruto, both as a lawyer in the case of Western Land and also as a voter, as he campaigned on media houses and also supported him in many different aspects. So in this video, I want us to look and critically analyze these tweets and extrapolate it to whether what he says truly means or truly reflects what exists in the ground. Before we start the analysis, for those who are watching us for the first time, kindly take a second or two to subscribe to our channel. And for those who have subscribed and are returning viewers, we thank you for the support and we say, may God bless you. Now today, Ahmednassir Abdulahi stated in his tweets, and he was talking about the resistance that the Finance Bill 2023 received from Kenyans. And this is what he said. The resistance to the Finance Bill, the punitive taxation it embodies, and the Bolshevik-like ideas of Soviet housing it embraces wasn't because all these are past bad ideas or His Excellency Ruto's government is out of touch with the needs of the hustler. The resistance was more fundamental. Now, he is saying that the resistance that this bill received is not because the bill was bad, especially when it comes to the ideas it was proposing, like housing. Neither was it because of punitive taxation. But first of all, let's pick a rider there. Ahmednassir Abdulahi acknowledges that the taxes in that bill were punitive. So, if you ask anybody, especially those salaried, high-earning Kenyans, you are told that almost 40% of their salary is going to go on taxes. So in that case, if you are earning 100,000, just as an example, 40,000 will go for taxes, then you remain with 60,000. Then the question that remains here is whether the services you are receiving from the government, are they in line or do they equate to what you give the government in terms of taxes? So that is why you realize that Ahmednassir Abdulahi is saying the taxes were punitive. But he says that it is not because of that the bill received such level of condemnation. What does he say? He said that the resistance was more fundamental, and it was because H.E. Ruto has refused to address the emptying of public coffers by the Uhuru administration. That is the first one. 2, because Ruto has not implemented one single reform, especially in the justice and law sector. 3, the state of the country is the same as he vigorously campaigned against. You get that? William Ruto promised that he will set up a commission to investigate state capture. That one, we are looking at the first fundamental issue that Ahmednassir Abdulahi is talking about, because he's saying that he has refused to address the emptying of coffers by the Uhuru administration. When William Ruto campaigned, he said that I will set up a commission of inquiry on state capture. That commission of inquiry has not been set up. Why has it not been set up? Because William Ruto, whatever William Ruto will tell you, he will not do. But what he does not tell you, he will do. For instance, he said that he will not use criminal justice system to target his opponents. But do you know that that is what he is doing? In many aspects, that is what he's doing. He has used it to free his supporters, like ministers that he appointed. And he has used it against those who are opposing him. And that is why you realize that people like Seth Panyako were sent to auctioneers when he promised to set up a commission of inquiry on state capture. He has not done that. And therefore, if there was any plunder in the previous regime, it cannot be unearthed and it cannot be effectively addressed. Another issue that he highlights is that he has not implemented one single reform, especially in the criminal justice system. So, William Ruto, first of all, that is why I differ with Ahmednassir Abdulahi. When it comes to criminal justice system, William Ruto has been a beneficiary of that system for quite some time. The delay in addressing court issues, William Ruto is a beneficiary of that. Why? The Western land issue, in the past regime, it was being addressed, and Ahmednassir Abdulahi was a lawyer there. It has been delayed for quite some time until it waited for William Ruto to become the president. Right now, I do not know the status of the case, but last time I checked, it was something canvassed by the courts, and we were waiting to hear how the proceedings were to go ahead. And therefore, if William Ruto has benefited from the slow and ineffective criminal justice system, I do not think he will implement any type of reform. Because for him, first of all, the only thing William Ruto campaigned about when it comes to the criminal justice system was to effect judiciary fund, which even the President Uhuru Kenyatta had already effected. Another thing he said is that he will ensure that the IG becomes the accounting officer for National Police Service, and they will have a separate fund for them so that the executive does not control the operations of the security systems in the country. But whether he did it, we do not know. But that is not a reform that can bring seriousness in criminal justice system. In fact, if you were to say he has benefited from that failure in a greater way, look at the number of ministers that were freed just to be allowed to get appointments in his government. So there is no way he can work to ensure that criminal justice system works perfectly. So in that, I fault Ahmednassir Abdulahi. And he says that the state of the country is the same as he vigorously campaigned against. Yes, that is a question I always ask. That for this regime, we always have elections after every 5 years, and after every 2 terms of a government, of a president, if he gets a second term, we get to have a new regime. For those who were there during Moi, you realize that the change of guard was felt by everyone. When Uhuru Kenyatta received power from Mwai Kibaki, there was some change. the country was having some new change. You could feel that a new government has come into office. But let me ask you this question, and please answer it honestly. Since William Ruto got into government, have you, by any means, seen any change? Do you feel a new government? Do you feel any change that can convince you that this government is going to change anything? There is no change. In fact, it is even going to be worse. Many people are telling me that the things that we knew would change have not changed. And for us, Uhuru Kenyatta's government was even better. So you realize that for this, Ahmednassir Abdulahi is quite right. There is nothing that is changing, or nothing has changed to be positive when it comes to this regime. He says that decay and decomposition of important institutions like judiciary has not been addressed. Parliament again is no longer the people's representative. No meaningful debate, no oversight or legislation is going on there. Even the hope of a populist propaganda is not given anymore. Surely, I'm sure most Kenyans will agree that when you look at critical institutions during this term, there have been clear signs that institutional independence will not work. Just yesterday, you note that the IG and the National Police Service Commission were at war. The IG has undertaken certain responsibilities that are not within his purview. How can an IG take for himself specific responsibilities that he knows he does not have without support of the sitting president? It is not possible. And therefore, for me, if you ask me, I would tell you that the wrangles within the National Police Service and the Inspector General are emanating from coercion by President William Ruto, because it was not possible for IG Koome to undertake serious responsibilities that he knows he does not have in law. If you look at judiciary, there are certain rulings that you get from the judiciary, and you get to ask yourself, what kind of rulings are these? Remember the ruling about Sabina Chebe. That is one of the questionable ones. In fact, it shows that criminal justice system is used in favor or against opponents of this government. Then let's go to parliament. That is also another place that is failing us. It is also another place that is failing us because it has already been captured. Serious members of parliament cannot go and debate soberly. They are there debating and pushing party positions without having any consideration about what the final output of their discussion is going to make Kenya look like at the end of the day. So for me, in that line, Ahmednassir Abdulahi is very right. And this is how Ahmednassir Abdulahi ends his tweet. That fine, Parliament has now given President Ruto his budget as he wanted. Let him tell Kenyans how those who steal from us will be punished. Let him tell us those who stole from us will be punished. Tax collection is fine, but Kenyans need accountability for every shilling. If you ask me, this is a veiled attack at President William Ruto. He knows he supports him. He knows he does not want to openly show dissatisfaction, but he's giving him a coded message that your government is corrupt. Your government is not living up to its expectation. Your government has not fulfilled any form of promise that you gave. And critical institutions that are supposed to insulate the common man from excesses of any executive have been failed and have been compromised. So he has given William Ruto that, and it is William Ruto now to see how he is going to address those kind of issues. If you ask me, I think this is a sign that William Ruto, first of all, is out of touch with reality, and the budget that he passed is punitive in terms of taxation and is not responding to the needs that hustlers had expected to have. So let's wait and see how things are going to pan out.